Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by Fully Funded Life. My name is Joseph Sangle. You're a host and fired up to help you, yes, you, make the right money decisions so that you can live a fully funded life. What is a fully funded life? Well, that's being able to do exactly what you've been put on earth to do, regardless of its cost or the income it might generate. And so I'm joined today by my interim co-host, Whitney Purcell. She's been joining me for the last several episodes, and she's joining us from where? Where are you joining us from today?
I am in Overland Park, Kansas, right outside of the Kansas City Metro.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you're a member of our team. If you want to hear an introduction to kind of the details, go listen to the previous episode 219 there at the beginning. She leads the integration of all of our solutions so that all of our solutions look really nice and work well together, and becoming a branded house versus a house of brands. And so that's really something I'm sure all of our marketers that are listening love. You doing good today? You fired up for this Monday?
Yes, I am fired up. We have a lot going on, exciting stuff coming this way. We launched our new branding this past month. A couple of weeks ago, we're actually just wrapped up our 30 and 30 this past week. So for those of you that don't know and haven't followed Enjoy, we spent 30 days celebrating 30 years of Enjoy. So we gave away 30 different things, resources, giveaways. We did celebration stories, webinars, all kinds of stuff. So it's been a good month of just lots of exciting things happening and getting to celebrate alongside of all of our partners. So I'm having a good day.
And we had a lot of fun. In fact, we mentioned Fully Funded Life a lot, and it's our personal financial training journey, a membership program that we would encourage everybody to check out. If you really want that one-on-one help in navigating, your budget, savings, pondering decisions where there's no sales pitch, we don't sell investments, we don't sell insurance, you should really check it out at fullyfunded.life. We'll leave you a link in the show notes. But as part of our 30 and 30, we serve churches a ton with Enjoy Stewardship Solutions. We gave away 100 free memberships to pastors.
Yes.
And so we're really excited about helping those pastors. And it was exciting to be able to add 100 pastors to be able to serve them, help them in their money journey. And we know that when they experience this, they're going to want a lot of people within their church to experience it.
Yes,
so
that
was exciting
for them. Yeah, we get to shepherd the shepherds. So I love it.
It's one of our great decisions. I don't know if you know this, despite the sensationalized stories of the few mega church pastors, most pastors don't go into ministry to make a bunch of money. In fact, many of them carry 2 or 3 jobs simply so they can do this thing they're called to do in serving people in their community. So we're fired up for today's episode. It's such a weird episode. Tell everybody what we're going to talk about and why they're going to agree that it is going to be weird.
Yes, today we're talking about weird ways to make money or unique ways to make money.
Yeah, so that's really interesting, weird ways to make money. We had some fun researching this. I really enjoyed it. And so, some of it's just going to be like, what in the world? But it just proves again that there's 1,000,001 ways to make money in this world. And so before we dive into the content episode, we're going to dive in to one of my great favorite moments of the podcast. You know what time it is. You listen a lot. Here we go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
The Monday Money Tip Podcast is sponsored by the Fully Funded Life Membership Program. The Fully Funded Life Membership Program provides all you need to begin winning with money and live a fully funded life. Fully Funded Life includes 4 key components: courses, challenges, coaching, and community. Courses provide financial education. Challenges help you make massive progress in a specific money skill. Coaching is provided by the Fully Funded Life Certified Coaches through open office hours held multiple times each month. All of the courses, challenges, and coaching results in an outstanding community that help equip, motivate, and encourage you to take your next financial steps toward your fully funded life. Fully Funded Life, courses, challenges, coaching, community. All that's missing is you. Learn more and receive a special offer for Monday Money Tip listeners today at fullyfunded.life/MMT. That's www.fullyfunded.life/MMT. That's right. For today's current money events section, it is entering fall season. Isn't that awesome?
I love it.
We just love fall for a minute.
I do.
What do you love most about fall?
I don't know. Fall just feels magic to me. Like the last episode we talked about, I love summer. I love being at the lake. I love going to the beach and doing that. But fall has always been my favorite season. There's just something about the crispness in the air. And one tradition we started when I had kids was to take them to the apple orchards and go apple picking and then make homemade apple pie. And then, there's a place near Anderson and they have these apple cider donuts that are to die for. They're so good. And then,
so you need to name the place.
Yep. Which one? Oh, it's Skytop
Orchard. Skytop Orchard in North Carolina.
It's good.
Near Henderson or Flat Rock, North Carolina. It's absolutely incredible.
It's a little bit of a drive, but it was worth it. Like it is. Yes, it's incredible. So if you don't,
I take the kids every year. We pick apples, but we're really there for the apple donuts and the apple cider slushies.
Yes, those are so good. I know it's kind of funny because, coming from the Midwest, you'd never have a slushie at a like fall place because it's not going to be warm enough for you to enjoy that here. It works. So, but yeah, so if you're there or here, I know we've got some pumpkin patches back here that I'm looking forward to trying out, and they've got some cider donuts as well. So, yep, I'm ready.
Yeah. So fall's here. Leaves change. There's those crisp moments. And when you walk out in the morning, humidity drops out of the air a little bit here in the South. It's wonderful. Maybe you can comment if you're watching on YouTube what your favorite part of fall is. That'd be awesome. What is your favorite fall activity? But in this current money event section, I'm going to talk about a fall finance checkup. A lot of times this is the time it's good to clean out the garage, clean out the barn, reset things, get the summer toys out of there and start getting the winter stuff or whatever ready. But let's talk about a fall financial checkup. We're going to list this also in the show notes. Maybe we could create a downloadable thing. Could we create a little download? Let's do that.
Let's do that.
We'll create a downloadable link. And I've got about 5 things I want you to think about. The first thing is clear the clutter. Clear the clutter. Do you have paperwork that's sitting around? Those stacks of investment documents, they give you those updates. Maybe it's different things that you need to put aside. But just get the paperwork gathered, sort it, and decide what to keep or trash. And what you could do in the meantime is you could eliminate paperwork altogether for the next time by choosing to go paperless. So clear the clutter. I don't know about you, but I've got a stack. I mean, I've got the medical documents and the explanation of benefits, and it is just
it's crazy.
So clear the clutter. I've got a foot of paperwork that I'm going to go through. It's going to take me 4 hours, but it's going to be worthwhile when it's cleared up.
Yep.
The next thing is in your fall financial checkup, I want you to consider cutting the cord. If you haven't done it already, man, consider cutting out your cable bill. You could use a streaming service where you can get the shows you want for a fraction of the price of cable. There are maybe 15 different providers out there, from YouTube TV to Fubo, or I don't know what they are. I've seen the Freebie or Freevee. You can check them all out. DirecTV now offers a streaming source where you don't have access to build a satellite up. Maybe you're in an apartment or whatever, but you have high-speed internet. Consider cutting the cord. And if you still have a home phone, why would be the question? Right. I know you love your number and you've had it for 40 years, but really, that can go on the shelf as a lifetime memento. The third thing is check out your automatic charges. Hey, do you have memberships or subscriptions that you don't use or don't need anymore? There's a reason why there's all these apps now that are looking, stopping bills or finding those bills. Look, you could do that yourself, and you could cancel those memberships, those subscriptions that you're not using or don't need anymore. I find it a lot with kids. You sign up for some service, like my daughter was a runner, and there's a service that you could sign up for that keeps track of all their races and all that stuff. Also allows you to watch certain races where they show up and we'll film them live. Well, she graduated from high school and we didn't need that anymore, but they had it where you paid once a year, and there comes that ding. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to keep paying for it. The fourth thing is do a credit report check-in. As part of your fall finance checkup, go to annualcreditreport.com. That is annualcreditreport.com and review your reports. If you're married, pull up your spouse's reports and check for inaccuracies and see what you can do to improve your scores. And the fifth thing that I wanted to share with you as a fall finance checkup is create a plan for seasonal spending. Think about these upcoming holidays. Are you going to travel over Thanksgiving, over fall break? What are you going to do for Christmas? How much are you going to spend for Christmas? You know, we talk about these as known upcoming non-monthly expenses. Make sure that you're planning for those in your budget, that you're putting that money away so that you can truly celebrate this wonderful season and enjoy it without incurring any new debt. And you can do it knowing that it's paid for in advance so you can truly enjoy these great moments of fall. And so that's it for my fall finance checkup. Clear the clutter, consider cutting the cord, check your automatic charges, do that credit report check-in, and create a plan for seasonal spending. And you, my friend, it'll be like that beautiful, clean garage. Perfectly, everything in its place. You will feel so good about it. Get fired up. That's it for today's current money events section.
That's awesome. Man, Joe, that was great points. I feel like after moving, I'm like, okay, I need to print that out myself and do all those things. We're in the middle of changing all those bills. So what a great tip. We're going to jump right into today's success story. And we say all the time that this podcast is powered by your successes. And the reason is because we do what we do so you can experience financial freedom, that you can get ahead in your money journey, because we know that when you have plans, that you will prosper with your money. So today's success story comes from George, who's learning to apply budgeting principles even in retirement. George says, I learned even though I'm retired, I can still budget and live within my means without robbing my emergency fund. Thanks for your vibrant message and insight, which I knew but never applied to our budget. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yes.
That's really incredible. It stands out to me that George obviously is a lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I get frustrated at times when people say, well, I'm retired. How does this apply to me? I'm like, well, is retirement free? Does it cost you no money? Like, do you get to stop budgeting just because you're retired? And you're saying that you can't invest anything in retirement? My dad's 84. He seems to think he can still invest when he's retired. He still wants to buy houses and flip them and do the work himself, much to my mother's amazement and frustration. But you know what? It gives him life. And so I would just encourage everyone to listen to George's story here, the success story, that you can keep on learning. And he's also very kind in sharing his words. Thank you for your vibrant message. That's awesome. That's another way of saying I was fired up.
Yes.
And so I would just encourage you all. I'm encouraged. And as we say, this podcast is powered by your success. So since we've been able to hear a success story, we are powered up. We can now teach on what are we going to teach about today? What are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about weird ways to make money.
Man.
I know. I'm like I looked through the list a little bit and I was like, oh my goodness.
So let's talk about this. Rent. When we're thinking about all these different things, I literally know people who do almost all of these.
Really?
And some people who are listening may not think this is weird at all. But I'm not sure who's the determiner. Who determines? I don't know if the determiner is a word. Who gets to determine if something's weird? So me and Whitney are determining if it's weird. We just decided that's what we're doing today. So what's the first weird way to make money?
Sell plasma.
Yes, sell part of your blood.
There we go.
Sell all of it.
Don't
sell the plasma.
Just sell the plasma. Yes.
So right now in our town, if you will sell plasma 5 times in 1 month, they will give you $150 per time.
Really?
That's $750. Sell plasma. And then after that, it's $75 a time if you'll sell plasma.
There you go.
I know friends who do this, and some of these friends work out and they were like, dude, the first, second, third time, not too bad. But the 4th time punished me. And they're like, hey, make sure you hydrate really well. And you probably shouldn't be doing CrossFit in the middle of it. So I'm not saying who it is, but they do CrossFit and they were selling plasma and they paid a price. They felt the pain. But selling plasma, do you know why people sell plasma? Because they need plasma. They need plasma for a lot of surgeries and stuff. So they're willing to pay for it.
Yeah, you're helping people in the process.
And you get $750.
I know, I'm too squeamish for that.
Are you going to go sell plasma, Whitney?
No, I'm not. I'm the one where when you had to get like blood drawn for kids, I'm like, okay, I'm looking away so that way I don't freak out, pass out. So
that's my bride. She'll kick the doctor. So I don't think me and my bride are going to sell plasma right now, but it's a way to make some money.
There you go. So if you're not.
What's another weird way? What's another weird way?
Store other people's stuff. Rent out your shed or basement.
Believe it or not, there are websites and apps where you can rent out space that you are not using. And you can rent out your shed. You can rent out space in your basement. And you can store other people's stuff. Now, the weird part of this is you will have other people's stuff in your house. And you don't know what it is. And you have to provide access to it. But if you've got a shed that you're not using, this can be a great way to make money because you're not using that space, and you can take space that you possess that isn't generating anything and turn it into an ox that's making money for you.
We're coming up
people's stuff.
Yeah, we're coming up to the end of, like, we've talked about falls in the air. People are trying to get their boats out of the water. And maybe they have a camper or an RV that they need to have somewhere for the winter. If you've got a big shed that can fit that and you don't need it, that's a great way to make some money because people are looking for a place to store it for the season.
That's a great idea. Storing a boat, storing something that people would rather not be outside, but they maybe live in town. Mm-hmm. And man, if they want to pay for inside storage at a normal place, that is a lot of money. Yeah. There are apps where you can rent out your space and you can give the dimensions, the length, width, height, and whether it's climate controlled or not, whether it's dry or not, and store other people's stuff. It's a weird way to make money, but it's also awesome. What's the third way?
Our next one is wait in line for people. So the professional line would, I think that's so funny. I also just feel like I am totally the antithesis of that millennial because I know like it's something that started with my generation where it was like for the next iPhone or for this pair of shoes that comes out. And that's just not me at all. Like I am the bargain shopper. Like I will confess, we talked about like being a spender and needing to fire your wanter. Like I have to do that. But at the same time, I am not the person where it's like, it's the next thing coming out. I've got to wait in line. But for some people, they want that phone or they want that pair of shoes and they're going to hire somebody to wait in line for them. So.
I always say it, I've listened to this podcast called Bigger Pockets for a long time. It's a real estate podcast. And they always talk about there's 3 parts to securing a deal. And it applies to real estate. It applies to buying a business. It applies to a lot of things. And they talk about how somebody has to find the deal. So somebody has to find the deal. Somebody's got to have money to fund the deal. And somebody's got to be able to work it once they have it.
Yeah.
And they always say, if you have 2 of those 3 things, you can always find the third thing. So what is a line waiter for, let's use your shoes example, your new iPhone example, right? You may not have money, so you need money, but you've got the deal. It's the iPhone that's coming out and you have time. You're willing to work the deal. So you can always find the money to pay you to sit there and do that for them.
Yeah.
And like people use this at Disney, they'll pay for somebody to their ticket so that they become the line waiter and you can just come switch with them once they're ready to go into the final part.
I have never heard that. That is crazy.
You can be a professional line waiter. Don't tell me there's not a way for you to make money.
Here we go.
Here's another one.
Yes. Print and frame tweets, then sell them. That cracks me up because there are some funny tweets sometimes. I'm the person where if I see the funny one, I like screenshot it or like send it on to family and forward it, like. Oh, yeah. So think about certain tweets that you've seen. I mean, they've been hilarious and some of them are hilarious and you like them and then scroll on. Others are hilarious. You like them, then you screenshot them, send them to friends and family, like you just said. Yep. There's those 1 in a million that is like, that needs to be a bumper sticker. That needs to be on a wall. People would buy that. Yep.
And so there are people literally on Etsy, you can see them on eBay, who are getting the rights of the writer because the person wrote it, they own it. And they are licensing it and they're printing and framing these tweets and selling them. And there are people there. Listen, I was listening to a podcast recently, and it was on a business website. It's actually with Donald Miller, who is a really good guy thinking about business systems. And he interviews a real world business person and thinks about what their issue is to scale their business. And this lady is a therapist. And in the midst of COVID, she's also been an artist. And she's been really struggling with, how do I help people? And she primarily serves young people. And they have a hard time expressing themselves in words verbally about how they feel about whatever challenge they're dealing with. And so she drew these different art forms, and she would give them 3 or 4 or 10 or 12 of them and say, tell me which one of these pictures best represents how you feel. And they could easily do it.
Wow.
And then she would say, okay, now this is the one. Why didn't you choose these? And why did you choose this? And that's where they made really big breakthroughs. She started taking this artwork and selling it for $3 a print. She sold over $10,000 worth.
Wow.
That's over 3,000 of these. And she found out that her market is other therapists who say, you're onto something. You're helping us have breakthroughs.
That's
so
awesome.
She's printing and framing her weird art that you and I would look at and say that's weird. But in the hands of a skilled therapist, a trained therapist, a licensed board certified therapist, it is a very important tool helping lead to breakthroughs.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
So print and
crazy.
frame tweets and then sell them. Print and frame quotes. Print and frame your weird art and sell them.
That's great.
It's weird and it's great. What else?
The next one is rent out different spaces in your house.
Yeah. So this seems really weird.
Yes.
What does this mean? Well, I have an it's a friend. It's an acquaintance that I've made. Lives in Rapid City, South Dakota. So Rapid City, South Dakota is kind of the gateway to the Black Hills. It's home of Mount Rushmore. It's home to the Badlands and Wall Drug. And I mean, it's the mecca for summer activities. It's the gateway to all the national parks out west, right on the borders of Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, all that. And he became a host home for Airbnb. And as a host home, it's like the modern version of a bed and breakfast. You can rent out patches of your lawn for people to park their camper on and set up shop. You can rent out patches of your lawn for people to set a tent on. This is a tent space. You can rent out your couch. You can rent out a bedroom. And you're there and people are there.
Yeah.
He told me that for the entire summer, he had rented out, I think, 3 spaces in his lawn for tents and campers. He had rented out his couch. He rented out a patch of floor on his living room for somebody to sleep on in a sleeping bag and his 2 bedrooms.
That's
and I'm like, what do your neighbors think? And he's like, I just keep my head down and go in and out of my house.
Oh my goodness.
He was making a ton of money. Weirdly, he had to deal with all these people and all these people coming and going. But you know what? It's weird. It's a weird way to make money, but he's making money.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, maybe if you don't want them in your house, if you live like near a stadium, or let's say you live near like where the state fair is or something like that, and there's event parking needs, maybe that's something where you could look at like renting out part of your driveway during those seasons, because you can make some good money doing that. And then you don't have to have strangers in and out of your house.
This has been systematized by areas like Augusta National, where the Masters golf tournament is played. People will leave their house for a week and they'll get 3-4 house payments of money simply by renting out their house for 1 week.
I mean,
let's talk about another weird way to make money.
Rent out your pool. I actually saw this recently. I was on Facebook Marketplace, and someone in the Kansas City Metro had a really great backyard pool, and they're renting it out. I think they do it in like 2 or 3 hour slots for people to host parties. So it's like, okay, if you want to have a birthday party at the pool, but you don't have a neighborhood pool or you don't have your own pool, this is a great way to do that. And then you don't have to fight with all the traffic of, the local pool and stuff like that. Because if you go to the city one, there's going to be a ton of people there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you can have it for yourself. And again, there's apps for that. It's not just on Facebook Marketplace. There's apps that will do special verification to make sure that it's safe, that you're safe, they're safe, that it's vetted out, that it's an excellent place, and that it is what they say it is. And people pay good money for that. And you'll take your pool, which I'm a pool owner, which you view as a cost. It's an expense because you got this pump running all day long and all night long. You're throwing in chemicals, maintaining it, the liner's wearing out, things like that. And you can make money with it. Another thing you can do that's weird is what?
Rent out your RV.
This is so common, it's mainstream now.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about people on RVs. Most people do not live in their RVs.
No.
Most people use their RV 2-3 times a year to sit the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And there's an app for this, and there's several apps, and you can put your RV on there, and all you have to do is have a cleaning service between times, flip it, and you can have that RV making you money year round. There are people literally who have bought a fleet of RVs that they're able to store them on their property. They have a big enough property, and they've just got a turnkey business making money for them.
I know.
Isn't that awesome? I love, this is called the sharing economy, right?
Yeah.
It's Uber, it's Lyft, it's just with an RV, and you don't have to drive it. They drive it. How awesome is that?
Great. Yes, I love that. The next one we have is rent your car. So I haven't heard of this one.
Yeah, you can rent your car. You can list your car. I think it's called Turo is an app that I've seen. And I think you can rent it out. Yeah, it's Turo.com. And you can rent all sorts of cars. People have these cool cars, and it's a great way. Listen, I'm going to show it here on YouTube. You can see it, Turo. You can find your drive. It's the world's largest car sharing marketplace. And people can get a certain car that they've been wanting to drive. This is actually an excellent way. If you're thinking about buying a certain car, go on Turo and rent one for the weekend. It can be insured. You can carry your insurance on it. It allows you to know exactly what the car is. I got introduced to this because my wife's sister and her husband, and they are weird in a good way, because they adopt stuff earlier than me. That's why they're weird. They're early adopters. And they had rented a car from a person. And they rented it the whole weekend. It was incredible. You can rent out your car. Hey, if you're not going to be using your car for a while, or if you have 2 cars, rent out your car and make some money.
There you go.
Weird ways to make money. What's another one?
Paint dumpsters.
You can paint dumpsters. There are towns that are kind of artist communities. And, the boring old green dumpster, the nasty garbage everywhere, the gray dumpster. You can paint dumpsters and make it art. It's almost like you can be a graffiti artist and get paid for it.
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
That's awesome.
And it makes the community look a lot better. And so you can paint dumpsters. Just Google it. You'll see this is a true thing. If you're a good artist, have at it.
There you go. And then our last one is sing happy birthday songs on Fiverr.
Yeah. So Fiverr is a great website, and Fiverr is one that allows you to list skill sets and you could also hire freelance work. We've hired people off Fiverr all the time.
Yeah.
And so I'll just show this here for those watching on YouTube. And you can get different stuff like graphic design. You can get singing. You can get videos and animation. Listen, when you listen to this podcast and you hear about the current money event section, or you hear the intro and outro, those are all hired by a person we hired somebody on Fiverr.
Yeah.
And so I remember my first introduction to Fiverr was probably 10 years ago. And I had a friend who had a birthday coming up, and another friend went on Fiverr, hired a guy in Russia to sing him happy birthday in Russian, but with his name, while twirling fire-lit batons.
Oh my goodness.
It cost $5. $5.
That's great. A card costs $5, and most likely they're going to read it and it's going to go in the trash can. That is a lasting memory for $5. Like it wasn't even to you, and you remember that years later. So think
10
about
years later.
Exactly. So think about that, where it's like, this is hilarious. That's something fun and funny and unique.
Whitney, you put things in perspective so good. That's right. You spend more on a card.
Yeah.
Get them something that's personalized. Somebody singing in Russian. Now, if you're Russian speaking natively, you don't think that's weird. But as a person who just grew up in the middle of America where there weren't too many Russians around, so that's awesome. Especially when you know it's the happy birthday song and your name's in it. Come on. That's awesome. So it's weird. And what I really wanted to say is all these things are weird. And also they are all awesome. And so maybe you could share on YouTube what the weirdest way is that you've ever earned money or other weird ways you've seen people making money. That's awesome. So we just wanted to list a dozen or so of those for you. Hey, think about it. If you could do something you love, singing, and maybe you could sing happy birthday songs for people in Russia and you're singing in English. How awesome would be that? Yes. So what's our quote of the day?
Keep Austin weird.
Right. Have you ever been to Austin, Texas?
I have. It's been a long time, but I love that. So
it's the capital city of Texas, and that's their phrase, keep Austin weird. And Austin is weird. They're also home to Austin City Limits, which is a great musical venue. I watch it all the time when I'm on American Airlines. They always have 3 or 4 episodes on there. My latest one was Ed Sheeran. He's unbelievable. But keep Austin weird. So we wanted to adapt it here. So for all of our listeners, I want you to think of your name and let's say keep you weird, whatever your name is. So keep Whitney weird. Keep Joe weird. And I say it because Psalm 139:14 says, I praise you, for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. So I'm gonna add, at the risk of being called sacrilegious, I'm gonna say I praise you, for I'm fearfully and weirdly and wonderfully made. I'm uniquely made, right? Yes. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. So keep Whitney weird.
There we go.
What do we talk about in our next episode?
Yes, our next topic is we're continuing on with our You Asked For It series. And I love this one so far. So we're going to be talking about how can I budget or save when I can't pay my bills? That's such a great question. So I'm excited to dive in next week and talk about that.
We encounter a lot of people who say that. I just can't pay my bills now. How in the world can I budget? How in the world can I save? We're going to answer that question. It's going to be hugely helpful. Probably going to have a giveaway in that one. So I'm excited for that.
Cool.
Hey, if you like today's episode, help us get this podcast to other people who benefit. Some other of your friends, family would love the Monday Money Tip podcast. Share it with them. You could also rate the podcast, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, you can click the thumbs up button. You can also leave a comment. That's really what causes YouTube to share it with others, and hit that subscribe button. If you want to be notified every Monday a new episode is released, click that little bell. It'll notify you. So thanks so much for joining us today. And hey, go find some weird ways to make some money. We'll see you right back here next Monday with other ways to help you win with your money and live a fully funded life. See you next Monday.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.